This is the Olympus 12-100mm f4 IS Pro lens. Much like the rest of Olympus's Pro lineup, it's a very solidly built, all-metal construction, weather-resistant, high-quality lens with optical performance designed for professional applications. The 24-200mm full-frame equivalent zoom range is huge, and when combined with the rest of its features, it ends up being a very large lens for Micro Four Thirds. Right out the gate, I would not recommend this if you want a compact travel lens. It'll absolutely dwarf any of the really tiny cameras, so while you could technically slap it on a GM1, I wouldn't recommend it. Like many of the fancier Olympus lenses, the very smooth focus ring has a clutch mechanism to switch between auto and manual focus, with hard stops at each end. On the side is a switch to turn on the lens's inbuilt optical stabilization, and a programmable function button that by default is set to pause focus. By the way, this lens has the most lovely sounding zoom. It's really nicely dampened and just so nice to use. It comes with a fairly standard petal-shaped lens hood made of plastic, and you can also put it on in reverse. It balances okay on something like an EM5 or EM10, but it's not the most comfortable experience. Definitely still front heavy. An EM1 is where it shines though. With such a deep grip, the balance feels perfect. And even though it's quite a large lens, it feels quite well proportioned. A pleasant surprise is its minimum focusing distance. On the wide end, you can literally touch the subject with your lens and still focus. And on the long end, it's even somewhat suitable for semi-macro work. You can get some pretty intimate results. On Olympus cameras, the lens stabilization pairs up with the sensor stabilization. Here's some handheld sample footage at 12mm and 100mm. Just for fun, here's a picture of a wall that I took at both 12mm and 100mm. I don't know, maybe it says something about distortion. The optical performance is excellent. It's almost boring how consistently good Olympus's lenses are. The autofocus is also really snappy and really accurate. I should probably mention the elephant in the room. This lens has a maximum aperture of f4 throughout the whole range, which on the long end can still make for some nice blurry backgrounds, but you'll definitely be struggling more in low light. Fortunately, the phenomenal dual image stabilization helps heaps for stationary subjects, such as with this easy 1-second exposure at night, but I wouldn't recommend it for anything moving through the dark.
I feel like I've been singing songs of praise about this lens the entire video, and for good reason. It's an excellent lens. But I feel like there's 3 main reasons why you might not want to get it. One is the size. It's not very large for full-frame lenses, but for Micro Four Thirds, this is chunky, especially considering the size of the bodies. Secondly is the price. If you look at the price of this lens, it is not cheap, even used. It's quite expensive, way out of most people's price range. And thirdly, and I think most importantly, is the alternatives. This is only f4. Now, that doesn't bother me for my use of it, but if you want something faster, Olympus has the 12-40 f2.8 lens, which doesn't zoom in as far, but it's smaller, faster, and has all the same weather resistance, metal build, clutch mechanism, and all that fun. If you want something telephoto, there's the Olympus 40-150mm f2.8, which is an amazing lens, internal zoom, really, really nice image quality. If you want something more compact and cheaper, Olympus has their 14-150mm, and Panasonic has their 14-140mm, which is ridiculously small considering the range that you get. There's also the Olympus 12-200, which is almost the same size as this lens, but again, it zooms in twice as much as this does, which is absolutely bonkers. But nothing combines the fantastic optical quality with the really nice build quality and that range from 12 to 100. You sacrifice speed compared to the Pro lenses, and you sacrifice compactness compared to the not Pro lenses, but this is just sort of an all-round go anywhere, do anything lens. You can go down to the river, take photos, thing splashing around. Doesn't matter if it gets wet. You can take portraits on the long end. You've seen the blurry backgrounds I got in some of the photos. You can take landscapes. This can just kind of do most things really well. It's just really expensive and quite large.
I wouldn't recommend the Olympus 12-100mm Pro to most people. There are so many smaller, cheaper, and faster options, but none more versatile. If you want a professional grade super zoom, this is the best you can get. Thanks for watching.